Welcome Average Joe Nation from around the globe. Props to you for staying up to date and keeping in the know. Fantasy football, man, very soon you'll reign. The knowledge that these three guys have, man, it is insane. Fantasy football talk, hateful eight, they wear the crown. Hold it down, Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli, hold it down. Pulling up to LB Design Studio, we're getting loud. Season 2, headphones on, red light go, break it down.
Welcome back to the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Podcast with your host, I'm Pickle, and with me as always, Blackburn.
What's up?
And Trimboli.
What's up?
Good week of games this week.
There's football this week.
There's football.
What is this show again?
This episode we'll be discussing the rest of the Week 11 games and get your lineups ready as well. As always, don't forget to follow the show's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. Now on to the Week 11, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Weekly starts and sits, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
All right. The good, the bad, the ugly, presented by StatRoute. Dominate your league. Get the stats used by the pros. Any stat, any player, any team available in under 5 seconds. StatRoute.com. Use the promo code HATEFULFF, all caps, for 25% off your subscription. All right. Who had the week? Was I the early games this week?
I got the late games.
I do have the early games. All righty. So early games. 1 o'clock games. I think that's all I've got is those. So Carolina at Detroit. I am so off right now.
You got those games.
I got those games.
I got them.
Don't worry. Nice shooting, Tex. Carolina versus Detroit. The good in this one for me is Greg Olsen. Detroit's given up 14 fantasy points total to the tight ends on an average. And he seems to be the even though, I mean, Devin Funchess is still seeing opportunities, Greg Olsen's actually catching his.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. But to me, you got Christian McCaffrey as the main guy in this offense, and the secondary option in the passing game is Greg Olsen. The third is Funchess. So
He's having the most funches.
he is.
Had to throw that in there.
There you go.
Bunches of punches.
Bunches of Funchess. So
That sounds like a nice cereal.
it is.
Anywho.
Anyways,
We should brand that.
we should. Anyway, so Greg Olsen's the good in this one. I just think the matchup you can't pass up on him with. He might be your play for the week because you have like Kittle or somebody who's on bye this week, so maybe not me. Bad is Kenny Golladay. So even though Marvin Jones is not in and potentially is hurt and might miss a couple weeks, and Kenny Golladay, I just don't see him doing very well drawing the number one coverage. So I know Carolina had a bad week, obviously.
Very bad.
Yeah.
As on the big screen on live television on Thursday Night Football, where Pittsburgh pretty much just annihilated them. So, but I just think that Carolina obviously has given up 33 fantasy points overall to the wide receiver position, but I just think that Kenny Golladay is going to be the main focus of stopping in the passing game. So, I'm not. He might do well, but I'm just saying I would not expect him to have a big game like he's been having here and there throughout the season. So
That whole offense just looks terrible right now.
The whole Lions team is just like, they're like just trotting along, but they suck.
I guess
they're pretty much doing enough just to stay out of the top 5 first-round picks.
Right.
It's so ugly to look at the line and how many sacks they're giving up to and Stafford's just getting nailed.
Yeah.
He's been like that his whole career.
There's no garbage this year. That's what's different this year. There's no garbage, as many garbage times, touchdowns, none of that.
No,
it's all,
and that's what you're used to having with
Yeah.
Stafford.
Well, that was his main.
Yeah, and Carryon's great. And we're getting way more production out of the running back, but I think the loss of Golden Tate and basically giving away Ebron. I mean, Ebron's been a stud over there in Indianapolis.
Dude, he's balling out.
Right. So what does that tell you? Was it the offense in Detroit, or is Ebron just out to prove Detroit wrong?
It could be a mixture of both. I just think he fits this because even look at the tight ends over the years. Jack Doyle. Who else was there?
Where? And
who's the tight end
Colts?
that went to the Patriots? Clark or not Clark?
Dwayne Allen.
Yeah, Dwayne Allen.
Yep.
You know, all those guys were productive while they were at the Colts.
Because they ran 2 tight end sets and they both were getting opportunities.
And then in Indianapolis right now, Doyle's actually seeing more snaps than Ebron. Ebron's just seeing all the red zone. I mean, they're even letting him run the ball.
Yeah, he ran for a touchdown this last week.
I just think he's being used a lot differently.
Yeah. So, and speaking of Carryon Johnson, he's the ugly in this week. Carolina's given up just shy of 20 fantasy points to the running backs in PPR format. But, I mean, Carryon just seems to find a way to continue to get points for you, whether it's receiving or running the ball. I mean, I think he's the best option in this Detroit offense at this point, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, and to be honest with you, Marvin Jones' status is it's a bone bruise. They're saying he might miss 1 week only now.
Right.
But if he's actually able to play, that actually I think that boosts Carryon.
Yeah. And I think that might help Kenny Golladay, too.
Yeah, true.
It's just, to me, I've heard that he's for sure out potentially 1 to 2 games is what they were saying, and it maybe gets back down that he shows up. But even if Marvin Jones does show up, you're not playing him because of the injuries. So, yeah, I know I knocked the water over. Anyways.
You didn't knock it over.
I almost did.
You moved it.
I moved it.
That's high quality H2O.
It is. So that's...
Yeah, put the water boy in.
Right. At this point. Next one, speaking of putting a water boy in, might give him a better chance. Cincinnati at Baltimore.
Another dig.
I know.
Listen, this team is still not out of it.
No, it's sadly enough they are not.
I got faith over here. I might be the only one.
Right. The good in this one, Alex Collins. Cincinnati is giving up 31 fantasy points on average to the running back position. Now, that obviously could get split between Collins and whoever else they decide to put in there. But ultimately, Alex Collins is still seeing more snaps, more touches overall, and the red zone opportunities are going to him. So I'm just saying, if you're in a bind on a bye week and you need to play somebody, Alex Collins is not a bad flex play this week.
Listen, play any running back. You play the starting running back against the Bengals.
Right.
I'm a Bengals fan, but listen, I mean, even Ingram and Kamara, both great plays last week. If you're going to play him. Play Collins.
So the bad in this one, Andy Dalton. I had him as my good last week. Unfortunately, he let me down like he's done for many of years to the Cincinnati fans. I couldn't pass up that one. Sorry. Anyways, Baltimore has only given up 16 fantasy points to the quarterback. They're actually one of the top defenses against quarterbacks, and Andy Dalton has shown over and over again that when the game is on the line and there's no A.J. Green, he's not as successful as one would hope.
Yeah. But hey, we did put up 34 points against the Ravens in week 2.
With A.J. Green.
Right, I knew he was there.
So, well,
they're aware he's there.
Believe me, Andy did too. He'll find out quickly that he's not.
I knew he was there.
So, anyways, I'm just saying, I'm not playing. I wouldn't play Andy Dalton this week. I think the matchup does not favor him.
No, there's just too many other options you can play. He's always a stream play.
Yeah. So, and then the ugly in this one, Mark Andrews, the tight end for Baltimore. Whether it's Joe Flacco or Lamar Jackson, I think that more so if Lamar Jackson is the guy, I think you see a lot more checkdowns, a lot more easy tosses to the tight end to kind of be getting the offense moving down the field. But even if it's Joe Flacco, Mark Andrews has seemed to be the main tight end that they're throwing the ball to in the red zone, as well as offensive snaps and receptions. So Cincinnati's given up 14 fantasy points at the tight end position. So now, granted, they do have a couple of tight ends outside of Andrews, but Andrews seems to be the main guy. So
I just wonder if Flacco does play, if Lamar Jackson's still going to see, like,
a couple packages.
Yeah, because I mean, New Orleans did that, and it worked.
They've been doing that all season, though. New Orleans has.
Well, I mean, around the goal line, it could work.
He does it all the time.
So.
Taysom Hill.
So anyway, those were mine for that game. Ultimately, I would tell you a sneaky sleeper stream of a defense this week is Baltimore. I think it might be a low scoring game offensively for the Bengals, and there might be some Andy Dalton might channel his inner Nathan Peterman and throw a couple turnovers.
Now, yeah, if Andy Dalton's throwing turnovers, that's a sneaky play. But I still think there's enough offense there in Cincinnati to make it still a game.
I think Mixon's the wild card in this one.
And Boyd.
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, last week I just think the air just got taken out of them early, and they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So, well, and I also think that New Orleans has a better secondary than Baltimore does. But
New Orleans done that to a couple teams.
Right.
Look what they did to Washington.
True.
Their top 10 defense, and they destroyed them, and Washington couldn't do nothing.
True.
Well, and Marvin Lewis is kind of falling back to his old ways. See, in the beginning of the year, I was excited because he was making adjustments. We were behind, and we were kind of coming back. We were always the cardiac kids. We were coming back. Now it's just like if we get behind, we're staying behind.
Right.
Ever since the bye week, it's like, yep, we're done.
So, the other game that I've got, or the second to last game I've got, is Dallas at Atlanta. The good in this one, I just think that he's continued to prove that he is Dak's new favorite option in the pass game, which is Amari Cooper. And Atlanta is horrible. I mean, horrible against wide receivers. So, I think he's a viable flex play again this week, like he has been. He's gotten a touchdown in each game that he's been with Dallas, and I just think that's what you're going to potentially see again. Cole Beasley's another option, I think. I mean, he's still seeing plenty of opportunities in that game. And the bad in this one, Atlanta running backs.
Yeah.
And it's not because Dallas holds their points, holds good points against them, doesn't give up a lot of points to the running backs. They're giving up 24 to the running back position. The problem is Tevin Coleman and Ito Smith are both starting to see the same amount of volume. And that's the problem. You have to bank that either Tevin Coleman or Ito Smith, whoever you play, gets is the touchdown running back for the week. And I've seen weeks where Ito's been the guy and Tevin Coleman's been just getting the yards. And I've seen the games where Tevin Coleman's gotten the yards and the touchdown and Ito's just been the yards. So I don't know who you're playing in this one, unfortunately. I think that Dallas does better against stopping the overall run, where the pass catching back is more the viable option. Dion Lewis was one that you saw. So I just think that if I had to pick one of these two, I think I'd still roll with Tevin Coleman over Ito if I had to roll with one of the running backs. But I'm not 100% sold on how well it's going to happen. And the ugly in this one, Austin Hooper. Dallas has given up a total of 13 fantasy points on average weekly to the tight end position, one of their worst defensive spots that they give up points. So,
and they're targeting the heck out of Austin Hooper.
He is seen, I think he is the number 2 or number 3 option in that offense target-wise behind Julio.
Yep. I mean, all Ridley's plays are pretty much big plays down the field.
Right.
But when it comes to receptions, it's Julio and Hooper.
And I will tell you, the red zone opportunities, all Hoopers. So, believe me, for whatever reason, they have this thing where they don't want to run the ball inside the red zone.
You mean Atlanta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have this fear.
Hey, they found a way to get Julio the ball, too, in the red zone, which was different.
2 games, 2 touchdowns last 2 weeks.
Kudos to Sarkisian.
Finally. Yeah.
Yeah.
It only took you 3/4 of the season.
There's always next year. And Houston at Washington is my final game.
It's going to be ugly.
It could be. The good in this one, Jordan Reed. Houston's given up 15 fantasy points total to the tight end position. Jordan Reed had a good week last week, and he's staying healthy. That's the thing.
He's staying healthy, and he's seeing targets.
Right. So, and Vernon Davis had goose eggs last week. So, just saying. I think Jordan Reed is a viable option, especially on a streaming bye week that you might need somebody, and or just for matchup potential as well. The bad in this one for me, Houston running backs. Washington's given up a total of 23 fantasy points, which you think, well, that's a pretty good amount. However, the problem is Alfred Blue and Lamar Miller are literally 50-50 splits. It's just kind of they're seeing both the same amount of opportunities, and there's no guarantee as to who's going to see the red zone. That it's basically whoever's you're riding the hot hand is what they're doing. If Alfred Blue is having a great couple snaps, couple carries, they're going to run him until he starts struggling. Same thing with Lamar Miller. And I'm just telling you right now, neither one of those guys will be in any fantasy lineup that I would be starting just because, great, you started Lamar Miller this week, and he was the one that got the touchdown. Congrats. Next week, it could be Alfred Blue. I'm just staying away from the true 50-50 splits when neither one of them has, like, a leg up over the other. Like, to me, Kamara and Ingram are in their own little bubble of 50-50 splits because they both are viable options based on matchups. Where these guys, it's a flip of a coin as to who's going to be the viable option. So, and the ugly in this one, Deshaun Watson. I know that sounds weird to say, but Washington has only given up 17 fantasy points to quarterbacks right now. But I just don't think you can not expect Deshaun Watson to be throwing this ball and trying to move the ball down the field scoring. So, as a Washington fan, do you think that Deshaun Watson goes over or under the 17 fantasy points?
Way over.
Way over, like 25?
30.
Oh, you're thinking the 30 burger.
Look, here's the deal.
See, like DT then?
No, here's the deal. Yeah, here's the deal. Look at the hot offenses in the league when they played Washington. Atlanta blew them out, right? Julio got in the end zone. Ridley had a good game. Hooper. The Saints, Michael Thomas killed them. What's the rookie? Traquan Smith. I mean, they all did. It was like 40 points. When Washington gets down, they can't come back. These teams just keep piling on. I think Houston's going to do the same thing.
Well, what about what they just did with Tampa Bay?
Okay, and?
They won, but they gave up 500 yards.
Washington never trailed in that game.
touchdowns.
Washington never trailed that game. Okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
One was a missed field goal in the red zone. He made 2 of them, and then the other 2 were turnovers, a Josh Norman pick and something else. But are you going to compare Tampa Bay to Houston?
Not their defense, but their offense. I mean, it's been
Their offense is
rolling.
what I'm saying. I would rather have Deshaun Watson, Demaryius Thomas, Lamar Miller,
I would too.
and Hopkins over that.
True. I'm just saying.
I think this could be a runaway. This could be one of those games where Washington just gets pounded. And I've watched the Redskins all season. I'm just saying it has potential to be ugly. Washington, even though they got a 2-game lead in the division, they're not a contender. They're surviving right now.
Well, and it's home, isn't it? At Washington.
It's at Washington.
That's why I thought maybe it'd be a little closer. I've not seen their. I'd be honest with you. I've not looked up their splits. Their home.
Well, the
and
Falcons played them at home 2 weeks ago and killed them.
Oh, not good.
Yeah. So I just think when it comes to high-powered offenses, the Redskins will struggle, and I think they will this week.
Fair enough.
I hope they don't. However,
Right.
I think they will.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, I was going to look. So your middle of the road, Washington's defense is middle of the road against running backs, middle of the road against wide receivers, and really good against the tight end position. And then they're top 10 against the quarterbacks. So
They gave up 32 points to Tevin Coleman.
yeah,
They gave up 24-plus points to Julio Jones.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
They're giving up 37 points on average to the wide receiver position and 24 to the running backs in
Yeah.
PPR.
So I look for Lamar Miller and Hopkins and company to have a good game.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I have that they give up a ton of points, Washington does, to the running back position, but the problem is knowing which one's going to be the viable one for the week.
Right.
But,
I mean, because Josh Norman, who typically doesn't travel, he stays on one side of the field. He's been traveling now with the number one receiver. I don't care if he travels with Hopkins or not. It's a mismatch. And then you got Demaryius Thomas floating
Right.
around also on Greg Stroman or Quentin Dunbar, who, no disrespect, but you're going to get torched, okay?
fair enough.
It's just how it is.
Well, could it be? You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, could it be more that maybe Washington's offense won't do enough against Houston? Because I mean, really, they didn't do much against Tampa Bay, who's terrible across
Washington's
the board.
offense doesn't do much at all.
That's what I'm saying.
Here's the thing.
They're a dink and dunk.
This is
Yeah.
this is a stat, okay? Washington has never trailed a game and lost. They have never led in a game they never led and lost. They've never trailed and won. So they have to be up and winning to win. They run the ball and
They're not
their
comeback
defense
team.
carries it. No.
Yeah.
We get
That's
down
what I'm hearing.
We get down by 10 points, it's over.
So basically, we went to football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Their
Well,
offense is suspect.
true. All righty. Who had the middle?
I got the next set.
Yeah. What you
All
got?
right. Pittsburgh at Jacksonville.
This is beginning of the season. This actually would have looked like it might be a good game.
Blowout.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's favored by 6 on the road. That is terrible.
Right.
It's not the same Jacksonville we're used to seeing.
No, and that's what's going to lead me into my good. So my good here is Juju Smith-Schuster. Man, I always butcher
Juju
his name.
Smith-Schuster.
Juju Smith-Schuster. Gotcha.
Anyways, I think the Steelers' offense is rolling. His target share is right up there with Antonio Brown. It's going to be another big week. Again, like we just said, it's not the old Jacksonville defense of old. So
Well, even then, I think Jalen Ramsey's going to be eyeing in on Brown, so that's going to
Yeah.
leave Smith-Schuster to roam.
True.
Yeah.
And then my bad is actually Vance McDonald. Outside of the week against Ebron, but Ebron's a totally different beast as a tight end. They've only let up 3 total touchdowns. So I know they let up 3 total to Ebron last week, but Doyle itself, they totally closed him out. I think it's going to be the same thing. That, and I also think Jacksonville's going to rely on the running game, which also Pittsburgh's going to run the ball too, which is going to slow the clock down or eat the clock up, and then there's going to be less snaps, less opportunity for McDonald.
Yep.
So. And then my ugly in this is because there's, any Jacksonville wide receiver's got to be ugly. It's Dante Moncrief. He seems to be the only, reliable wide receiver there in Jacksonville. The Steelers, if they have their weakness is at the wide receiver or giving up points to the wide receiver, I just see Moncrief being maybe a viable option if you need wide receiver help.
Yeah. I agree with you. I mean, they're giving up, 30? I think I've got it right here, 35
Yep.
or 36 fantasy points to the wide receiver position in
Which
PPR.
seems like a lot, but really that's middle of the road.
Right.
So it's with Fournette back, it's a heavy dose of Fournette, and actually he's being used in the passing game too now.
But, I mean, outside of that touchdown last week, Fournette would have been
Right.
eh.
But he had like 25 carries.
He had the volume. It's just he wasn't really getting anywhere. And then, I mean, the touchdown at the end, in the game was what sealed it for him to be a viable option for the week. Otherwise, he was average.
Right.
But
All right. Well, moving on. Tampa Bay at the Giants. This game is going to be a little bit more scoring.
can this game get flexed out of the schedule in general?
I like it.
I do- I kinda-
I think it's going to be an offensive.
I like it for fantasy purposes.
Yes.
Now on the field, really don't care about either team, but
Right.
for fantasy purposes, I like it. And you know what? This is gonna be like a revolving door for me. Anytime I get to talk about the Giants, I always talk about Sterling Shepard. I think he's a great play this week. He's my good. The Bucs defense is absolutely terrible
Yeah.
against the defense. They rank 31 out of 32 teams. That's bad.
Yeah, sorry, Redskins got
Yeah.
a touchdown with them.
So, I mean, and we just talked 36.1 points. They're letting up 45.5. So, I'm playing Sterling Shepard. I'm playing OBJ, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Yeah.
My bad in this is O.J. Howard. Last week, there was 400 yards passed. You know how many yards he got?
Not many.
5.
1 for 15 yards. One
There you
catch,
go.
15 yards. That is terrible.
Cameron Brate got most of the targets in that game,
Right.
and he dropped a
Yep.
few.
Yep. And the Giants are good against the tight end. They're ranked 7th in the league, only letting up less than 10 points. I'm not playing O.J. Howard this week.
No.
But I will say my ugly is the tight end on the other side of the field. Just because the Bucs can't stop anyone, I think Evan Ingram's going to be a solid play.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be 10-plus points. I'm calling it.
Well, they're averaging, 15 or something?
Yep.
They're averaging 15
16, almost, yeah.
And look, if you watch the game, was it Monday night?
When they were trying to get down the field in a hurry, that's who they were looking at.
Well, that and Eli looked good.
Yeah.
The offensive line
The
blocked.
2-minute warning was legit. It was a totally different Eli.
I mean, he was and I've said this. I like Eli as a quarterback. He just needs time. That offensive line gave him time. He found Shepard, OBJ twice. He was finding Ingram. It was like a totally different Eli Manning.
He doesn't trust the offensive line. That's the
No.
biggest thing.
If the offensive line can block, all these Giants' offensive weapons are viable plays.
Yeah.
And he's not dumping the ball just to the running back now.
No.
That's what he was doing the whole first half of the year.
Yes. Now he's throwing it downfield a lot and confident.
And I think Ingram is benefiting from those dink and dunk passes.
Yep.
Which that's why I think he'll have enough volume. Hopefully he'll sneak into the end zone. Like I said, I like him this week.
Yep.
10+.
Yep. Now watch him give me a big old goose egg.
Nah.
I think you'll be all right.
All right, we got Tennessee at Indianapolis as the next game. Again, this one I don't care about either team on the field.
I know, but hey, they've been playing good.
Tennessee,
Both of them.
But yes, and I like that.
What they did to New England?
Yes, and I hope
I don't think that was a fluke.
Well, I like Vrabel.
Vrabel is a former assistant.
Right. Well, I just want him to just do well. So for him to do that to New England was nice.
But the week before that against Dallas, I mean, Dallas has a nice defensive line, but they torched them.
They're blocking, and Mariota is confident behind that line, and he's not just chucking it down the field and hoping and praying. I mean, he is reading the defense. He is seeing the field. Corey Davis and him are finally clicking. The Corey Davis that we all thought was going to finally show up at the beginning of the season, finally showing up 3/4 of the way through, and they're getting Derrick Henry involved now. Finally.
He had a wildcat touchdown.
It looked
What?
like Sasquatch out there
What?
running.
Hey, whatever's getting it done.
At this point.
Tennessee has definitely changed it around.
I think post the debacle there in London, I think they've pretty well turned it around since then because they've won 2 since that. They
Right.
went on a bye
Two
week.
impressive wins, yeah.
Beat
Really,
Dallas.
they should have won in London.
Right. I mean, had they went for it instead of playing
Right.
I'm just saying, if they would have got converted and or decided to go for the tie and went into overtime again or whatever, I'm just saying they would have. I think they had the momentum, but they're finally getting it all together at the right time.
Yeah,
of the
they're
season.
clicking at the right time.
Right. I mean, everyone's involved. So, moving on, start talking about actual players we like. I still like T.Y. Hilton though on the other side.
I
Yeah.
do too.
I think it's a good matchup here, and let's be honest, Indianapolis has got to throw the ball someone
Well,
outside of Ebron.
He's had the most targets this last
Yep.
game than he's had all season.
Right.
I think they're starting to build that relationship.
It's gonna
back up.
It's gonna go for. I think I like him this week, and I mean, Titans are ranked bottom half, 29th, so
Yeah.
it'll be all right. My bad actually is one of our fan favorites on the show is Marlon Mack.
Yeah.
I'm not fair. I don't like him in this matchup. Titans ranked 3rd against the running back, but also the Titans have not let up a 100-yard rusher all year and have only allowed three total touchdowns to the running back position. I think Ebron's sniping Mack's plays at the goal line right now, and until that changes, I don't think Mack's a great play this week.
I think it's all game script, and unfortunately, like you said, the defense that they're playing against is not give up a lot to the running backs touchdown wise.
Absolutely. But a guy we did talk about, Corey Davis. He's my ugly only because he hasn't been consistent all year. But I think now things have finally changed. Him and Mariota are on the same page. Let's hope this continues this week.
Yeah, what are they giving up? This is 30. I think it's like 38 or 39 fantasy points in PPR.
Yep. But for him, it's whether or not Corey Davis is going to get all the volume.
Right. Janu Smith is. I want to say Janu Smith-Schuster,
No,
but
Janu Smith, the tight end.
he's been blowing it up. I mean, he's kind of walked into the Delaney Walker role, and he's finally. I think Mariota's finally feeling comfortable about him being the tight end. Finally.
Well, when you add another threat, it actually opens up doors for players like Corey Davis.
Right. But I mean, even in a streamable opportunity this week, I mean, to me, Janu Smith is a valuable option.
Right.
So he's a good sleeper pick this week, potentially to get you a touchdown and 20, 30 yards, honestly.
Absolutely. And then moving on to my last game, we got Denver at L.A. Chargers.
Interesting.
Yes. My good in this is who I thought would be good once DT left is Courtland Sutton.
Yeah.
I think this is his opportunity to finally break out. I think the volume, the targets, everything will be there. And I think Denver's going to be trailing in this game. So Keenum's going to be forced to throw. Courtland might get a bunch of garbage points, but hey.
Points are points.
Points are points. My bad in this is Philip Lindsay. Royce Freeman is due to come back. Now we're back at that running back by committee. And like you talked about earlier, in the Houston game, you just don't know who to play. And when they're about to be a 50-50 split, which I think Lindsay will see a little bit more, maybe a 60-40, I just don't like the matchup.
You just don't want to be playing
Still,
Lindsay.
because it's touchdown dependent.
Yeah,
at that
exactly.
point.
That's where we're at. And
No, I was just saying that, like in reference to what you were saying, it's touchdown dependent and everything. To me, if Lindsey gets you down the field and then he's gassed,
Yeah.
Royce Freeman, come on in, get you a touchdown, and then he snipes that touchdown. You're like, well, I just got 40 yards.
All
from
the 4 points I just got from him, he just got 6 on 2 plays.
and Booker's not going to be left out of that equation in some form.
Yeah, it is what it is with the backfields in this situation. I wish they would just let one guy be the guy. I know Philip Lindsay, he's been good, so why not just continue to play him? And if you have to for whatever, he needs a breather or in some sort of opportunity package where you feel like it's a short line, goal line type thing that you need a yard and Royce Freeman's kind of the bruiser guy that you're going to bring in, fine, but don't let Lindsay get down the field and then be like, hey, come on out, we're going to put in Royce. I mean,
Denver's, they're a train wreck.
they're going to be looking for a quarterback next year too. So,
Yeah. Should have been looking for one before this year, but
put a Band-Aid on a giant flesh wound, whatever.
a gaping wound.
Gaping flesh wound. Just but a flesh wound.
They're just slowly bleeding out.
Yeah, and they're just like hoping that Keenum can get him through the rest of the season.
Right.
John Elway up there in his booth.
Yeah, he cannot pick a quarterback.
It is what it is. Brocktober's over though. The hunt for Brocktober.
October.
Brock Weiler
Yeah.
sucks again.
It does. And all's right in the world, though.
Everything feels good now. Anyways,
All right, real quick, just to round it out. My ugly's Tyrell Williams. He's emerged as the number 2 in L.A. out there, and I think he's gonna have enough.
He's
play.
been solid.
Yeah. Well, he's getting the touchdowns.
Yeah.
yeah, I thought Mike Williams is going to be the guy, but apparently Tyrell Williams is going to be the opportunity guy now that Hunter Henry's out.
Yep.
So, who saw that?
Oh, Hunter.
Sorry.
All right, my turn.
Yeah.
My turn.
Late games here. Raiders at Cardinals. This is going to be great.
Great must-see TV.
My good for this one, and that's only because he's the only receiver on the field, is tight end Jared Cook.
There you go.
Like I said, he's basically the number 1. He's number 1 in targets. Jordy's dealing with a knee issue. Martavius Bryant's got like a sprained PCL or something going on. So it's strictly volume here. It's not a good matchup, though. Arizona's third against tight ends.
Indeed.
But when he's the only guy out there trying to catch passes, you play him.
Right.
Somebody's going to have to catch the ball.
My bad this week, quarterback Derek Carr. He's averaging 8 points per game in the last 2 games.
Terrible.
Lack of weapons is what it comes down to.
Yeah, I
to
told
be
you.
honest.
Just keep the car in the garage.
I told you. No.
Yeah.
Let him put him in East Dayton. Put it on blocks.
Hey.
Call it a day.
That's West Dayton. Arizona's 15th
part of
against
Dayton.
quarterback. Yeah, Arizona's 15th against quarterbacks, but I'm still not playing Derek Carr even if you got bye week issues.
I'd rather get goose eggs across the board.
Yeah, you can go get Alex Smith, and he can get you at least 12 points. That's better than your 8 that you're going to get with him. And the good for this, or my ugly, is Cardinals defense special teams. Oakland's offense is the super hottest garbage. Okay, and
Hottest of the hottest.
yeah, Oakland's 28th against defense and special teams, so they're near the bottom of the list. Fire up that defense special teams.
Yeah.
This game I'm really looking forward to. Eagles at Saints.
There we go.
My good one for this week is Alshon Jeffrey. He's averaged 9 points per game in the last 2 games, but New Orleans is dead last 32nd against the pass.
Opportunity.
Yeah. My bad for this one is any Eagles running back. I don't care who it is. Clement, Adams, Smallwood, they all get time. They split time. And New Orleans is top 5. They're 5th against running backs.
Yeah. They said that Adams is going to start seeing more opportunities.
Yeah.
So great.
super fantastic.
Just avoid running backs by committee if you can.
Right, especially when there's 3 or more involved.
Right.
Doug Peterson hates fantasy football anyways.
And Sproles is lurking around somewhere, usually behind the bench because he's been hurt. But he might creep on the field at some point. You just might not be able to see him because he's short. Ugly for this week is quarterback Carson Wentz. He's averaging 23 points per game this season, and that's with missing time. He's got 15 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions, and New Orleans is dead last against quarterbacks too. Fire up Carson Wentz if you got him.
Indeed.
Next game, Vikings at Bears. My good for this one is Trey Burton. That's their weak spot on defense as the tight end position. He's averaging 10 points per game the last 2 games. Minnesota's middle of the road. They're 17th against tight ends. My bad, Jordan Howard. He's only averaging 10 points per game this season. Cohen's averaging 15. They're playing a tough run defense. Minnesota's 6th against running backs. I just like the upside of Tariq Cohen more. They're probably going to be down.
Hey, let's just be honest. Cohen's the better back.
Well, I think running, like an actual running back, Jordan Howard's the better runner. But for this offense, Matt Nagy's offense,
right,
it fits Tariq Cohen better. Or Tariq Cohen fits the offense better.
Yeah.
Jordan Howard's almost droppable.
He's borderline.
Seriously.
He's like right there.
Well, he's like the number 1 guy in all the trades that I've seen as of late. Jordan Howard's been involved in almost all of them.
It's like, I'll give you this.
What's a fill-in player?
It's like, hey, I'll give you this guy for this guy.
And he's still got name value.
Yeah.
And here's Jordan Howard. Just
well, cash in on it while you can.
I want the open spot on my roster.
My ugly for this one is Dalvin Cook. I mean, he got 15 points last week. 13 was on a 70-yard touchdown. I get it. But he looked good, though. I think you're gonna see an uptick in volume because Diggs? He said he's gonna play, but they're not for sure. I don't think he's gonna be 100% if he does play. So I look for Dalvin Cook to get some of those passing options. But Chicago is ranked number 3 against running backs.
Yeah, but you're right though. If he sees the volume in the passing game, that should be enough for a viable week.
Yeah. Next game, and it's my last game, but Chiefs Rams.
Talk about a game,
dude. My
Fantasy
first line
everywhere.
says a lot of big names. Start them all.
Yeah,
okay?
Start everyone.
You're going to start all your main players, okay?
Right.
My good for this one is Jared Goff.
Yeah.
He's averaging 28 points per game the last 3 games. This has potential to be a shootout. Kansas City is 17th against the quarterback, so I like Jared Goff a lot in this one. My bad is Josh Reynolds. As soon as Cooper Kupp went down, everybody rushed out real quick and got Josh Reynolds. Pump the brakes, okay?
Whoa.
There's too many other weapons. We talked about it in the last show with Woods and Cooks and Gurley catching out of the backfield. And so I think that Josh Reynolds, in deeper leagues could be a good pickup, but in your normal 10 to 12 man, I just don't think that's going to be – he's not going to make a huge difference.
At this point, I'd stash him.
Yeah. I mean –
wait and see.
Yeah.
And my last guy is real ugly. Here it comes. You know what it is. Tight end Tyler Higbee. Okay?
Oh, I was waiting on
There
it.
he is.
11.5 points last week. I think with Kupp going out, there is going to be a lot more attention going to those other wide receivers. Higbee could be another guy that's just out there for golf to target without
Free roaming.
Yeah. And, he's not a Pro Bowl caliber tight end, but he's definitely serviceable, especially this week. If you got Kittle or, Gronk or whoever on a bye week, start him. It's going to be all offense this game.
Yeah, there was a good chance that they talked about maybe postponing it and moving it to week 12 and moving it to LA. They decided to move it to LA.
Yep, it's in LA.
So it is on for sure this week, which is a good thing for your fantasy week because if you were initially reading the reports that they may postpone it to the following week, you may have been a little uptight, hoping that your Gurley and your Patrick Mahomes and stuff got to play this week because you might need them.
Gurley might put up 80 points.
I'm just telling you. I will tell you. Okay, let me ask you this: over under 30 fantasy points, PPR wise, for Gurley. Over under.
I'm say under. What at 25?
Over.
Wow.
How many over?
Not many.
Like 32, 33?
Yeah.
I was figuring around 28, 29 is what I'm figuring.
Here's the thing. So all of Kupp's volume, all his target share, it's got to go somewhere. We think it's going to go to Reynolds. Maybe it'll go to the tight end. But I think you'll see a slow uptick in Gurley's numbers. So that plus, he's a touchdown monster.
Yeah, but I'm not taking anything away from Gurley. Obviously, best back, whatever. But I think they're going to have to throw a lot in this game because I think Mahomes and company is just going to start running. The Rams' pass defense is not good.
I agree.
Okay, so I think they're going to run up the score, and Yeah, I mean, they're going to run the ball too, but I think if the Rams are going to target on that run, or the Kansas City's going to target in on the run, so they're going to make Goff beat them.
I think that it'll be interesting to see, but I think that Goff and the offense is going to have to know. I mean, I know the cliche is keeping up with the Joneses, but they're going to have to keep up with the Chiefs offensively because.
You want to see it? Just real quick.
Yeah.
That's his average.
28.5.
28.5.
Who?
That's Gurley's average.
I figured around
That's what
28
I'm saying.
points.
So that's what I'm getting at. So with this, that's why I think it'll be north of 30
Okay.
with this defense.
You think a couple extra receptions?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just to,
okay.
just to tick them over that.
Could be. I felt comfortable at about 28 is what I was banking on, but either way, it'll be interesting. I think that this Monday night game is going to be a fun one to watch, honestly.
Yeah. And
So-
now that's in LA.
It bodes better for the Rams.
Oh yeah.
I know that people are like, oh well, I'm curious to see how it's going to change, and they're all preparing for the atmosphere. They went to Colorado to practice and everything. Yeah, but they're going back home. Who cares? I mean, they're now back in.
Both teams are going to be. I mean, the Rams defense isn't the Rams defense we thought that it was going to be.
No.
They're hit and miss.
Especially on the secondary.
I was trying to figure out what's the over/under in this game. It's got to be high.
I don't know, but Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, they're about to feast on these boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Marcus Peters.
Well, heck, I think Watkins is going to be available to play too.
Hey, even
Really?
better. I'm just saying, it's gonna be high scoring. If you like high scoring football, this will be the game.
I think
Yeah.
fantasy football wise, this is the one
This
you
is
want
the
to
game
watch.
where if you got a question mark player or someone you're looking in, find someone on these teams, put them in.
Somebody's going to score outside of the big name guys as well. So
Oh, they're going to have to.
Higbee.
Higbee. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
play that Higbee.
There you
Hey,
go.
Kansas City's 23rd against tight ends.
DFS right there.
There you go.
Holla.
Cheap DFS play. All right. Anything else?
That's it.
I've got nothing.
All right. Want to tell you guys thanks again for tuning in today's show via the podcast as well as the YouTube channel. Please check out the site, thehateful8ff.com, for the in-season weekly articles. Don't forget to check out our personal accounts on Twitter at jpickleTH8FF, at jblackburnTH8FF, and at ftrimTH8FF. Don't forget to follow the show and oh man, I just butchered that. I'll start.
All right.
It's your bull.
It is my bull. Don't forget to join the Average Joe Nation if you're looking for weekly in-season specific to your league help. It also supports the show via our Patreon tab. And anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thanks, guys. We
That's it.
appreciate it.
Yep, we appreciate it.
Make sure you're tuning in for the 10:30 Eastern Standard Time for the Sunday help that we normally send out. We had a couple on there. I put in the question there on Sleeper Bot, and it went like haywire. It was hard to kind of keep tabs rolling back and forth to try to keep tabs on these. But anyways, but yeah, we'll be on Twitter at 10:30 in the morning on Eastern Standard Time there on Sunday. So answering any questions you guys might have. All right, we'll see you guys. Good luck, and hopefully you come back on the Week 12 Thursday Night Primer with a win.
Absolutely. You mean week 11? Oh, no, come back next week. I get what you're saying. Man.
Because I'm playing this guy.
I hope I come back with a win. We both need a win. Only one of us can, though.
I just need a wide receiver.
It's like Stallone and it's like, what is it, Rocky and Drago? Just saying.
I've given up.
I must break you.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
One more time. There ain't no one like these three. You know you just heard Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli. Give the goods talking about nothing but fantasy football. Yeah, it's your year to dominate and to wear that ring. Prepare for the draft and dial in on your craft. Quarterback, the first round is a good choice, you ask? This guy's got first round pick, a favorite? Not so fast. He failed to tune into Hateful Eight. He's a chump finishing last.